Right, that's Facebook on board. Hi folks. Just get in for work. I'll give you a wee bit for some of you to get in before I start chatting about this bloody exit poll. Hi Alistair. Hi Paul. Hi Millie. Hi James. Hi John. Hi Joe. Hi Desiree. I come back on because you asked me to. Hi Leipzig. Evening Diane. Davey. Or Davo. Hi Graham. Alex. As you can see, folks, I'm sitting here in absolute disbelief. Hi, Orkney. I don't suppose there'll be any change in your neck of the woods. That'll still be Lib Dem. But if this exit poll's to be believed, folks, then the SNP will be down to 10 seats. The people will have spoken, and the people will have said, we don't want your independence anytime soon. So we can only hope that the exit poll is wrong when it comes to voting intentions in Scotland. But if the exit poll's right, that would give Labour 40 seats in Scotland. 40. And because it clearly stated in the manifesto, in the SNP manifesto, that on page 1, a vote for the SNP was a vote for independence. Well, if this is the case, then the people don't want it. If this is the case, then the people don't want it. And I've wasted the last 25 years of my life. $18 in the exit poll in Scotland, is it? Still not enough. The people will have spoken. And Paul, you don't think that's it? Those not switched on to politics are going with the get rid of the Tory mantra. It doesn't matter, Paul. The SNP put it specifically in their manifesto, page 1. A vote for the SNP is a vote for an independent Scotland. Well, it didn't happen, according to these polls. It didn't happen. This will set us back a decade. A decade that I don't have to give. A decade that David certainly doesn't have to give. But I'm going to take the poll with a pinch of salt. I predicted 34. I predicted 400 for Labour. The exit poll saying 410. I predicted 130 for the Tories. The exit poll predicts 131. I predicted 34 for the SNP. We'll find out tomorrow. We'll find out by about 5 o'clock in the morning. We'll know. I mean, there's only one count in so far, and that's south of the border, as far as I can tell. So we'll just need to see how it goes. As I say, if it's a Labour landslide, because of what the SNP have put in their manifesto, and people don't vote for it, then you can say the appetite's away. We keep hearing people saying now is not the time, now is not the time, now is not the time. They want ideal conditions. But as we keep witnessing, Westminster keeps making a fuck of things. So, Nicola didn't seem too upset in the panel. DJ, you can turn to Alba at the next election if you feel the SNP are not right. But what we do know is they're not going to recognise anything. Nothing. We've got 2 declared so far in England, I think. You any declared in Scotland? Labour, 2 seats declared. And as I say, if the exit polls are correct, then, as I say, the people will have spoken. And then on Monday when we go live, we'll decide what we're going to do with the channel. We'll decide what we're going to do with our social media outlets. Because this has set, if this exit poll is correct, this has set us back by at least a decade. And we already know that Labour are coming after the devolved settlements. They intend to hollow out Holyrood to it's nothing more than a glorified council. Nothing more than a glorified council. So, as I say, the younger people amongst you, it'll be up to you to pick up the mantle. I'll still be voting SNP. And I'll still be supporting independence. But I don't have another decade to sit here in front of you guys. I don't have it. So, as I say, if the result is correct, the people have spoken. But we'll find out in the morning if the result is correct. If the people in Scotland have swung back to Labour for a Westminster election, they're going to swing back to Labour for a Holyrood election, no. And we already know that they're going to bypass Holyrood. In fact, we're talking about a report in a broadcast in Scotland tonight. I was listening to their coverage. But this has got nothing to do with Indy. This has set independence back a decade, maybe more. Maybe more. Because we needed a mandate at this election to justify a plebiscite election at the next election. We don't have that justification. We don't have that mandate. The people have spoken. I don't think Alba's got much to answer for at all. There's certain individuals within the movement who have got a lot to answer for. Because when I was warning people, if you put any cracks in this movement, the game's a bogey, they went and did it anyway. I warned about this before the Alba Party was launched. I warned about this when idiots were running about with the ISP or the IPS or whatever it was. That's the reason why we need to talk about what we're going to do with the channel. I'll put the super chat up. If we can't get there through politics, we just have to make sure we look after each other, folks. Thanks, Davey, and thanks for raising for food banks. That's why David and I will need to talk about what we're going to do with the channel. Because I would hate to see all that work we've put into helping people over the last couple of years disappear. No, DJ Mercy Moo, you're absolutely right. The people in Scotland didn't have to vote Labour, but it appears they did. And if they swung back to Labour for Westminster elections, then they can take what comes to them. You know, they can take what comes to them. I'll always be a pro-independent supporter. I will always be a member of the SNP. You're right, Thomas. It is a democracy. That's why I'm stating the point. The SNP put it page 1 on their manifesto. It appears that it's not what the people of Scotland want at this point in time. In order to get up to a decent amount in an election again, to be anywhere near pushing for us, we're not looking at a Holyrood election here. We're looking at a Westminster election. Simple as that. Thanks, Devo. I'll put that up. So as I say, we'll just need to see what happens when the votes come in. I find 10 very difficult to believe. 18 would still be a right boot in the bahookie for the SNP. So they cut their nose off over bottle recycling and gender. The bottle recycle thing was a direct sabotage by Westminster. And that was another scam. We need a big hitter. We've had that many big hitters. I mean, if we take out our population, you can't say Brian Cox is not a big hitter. The big problem here was John took his foot off the gas. So people didn't believe him when he put it in his manifesto, line 1, page 1. He had no choice but to do that. If he thought he could get away with having taken that out of the manifesto as well, he would have. I don't see the reform being bigger than the SNP either. As I say, when it comes to smaller parties, the exit polls generally can really make an arse of it. But class action, you're right. If the SNP end up with just 10 seats, the leadership, they need to have a look at themselves. As for the trans and gender nonsense, that's the problem. People paying attention to bloody nonsense and culture wars instead of what was important. People haven't had their eye on the ball, their eyes on the prize. Alan, thanks. You'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for your efforts over these last years. Our social media output, David and I, started in 2012. And we started campaigning for the SNP digitally in 2005. So that's almost 2 decades we've been campaigning online and on the streets. So we've tried. We've done our best. It's going to be for people like young Chris Wilson to pick it up for you. I was 30, 25, 30 when I started campaigning. I'm 56. I will still speak to my local community about voting SNP. I'll still be an SNP member. Don't know what we're going to do with the channel. Maybe we'll turn to culture. Maybe we'll do something other than campaign for independence. Maybe I'll get back to reporting on the news just to keep the channel going. Don't know. But my belief that the right thing for Scotland is to be an independent country won't change. That will never change. Now, voter ID did make a difference apparently. People were getting turned away for the polling stations. Postal vote. We'll still have an inquiry into that and find out how many people were disenfranchised. Because we don't know how many people didn't get to vote. So, in fact, Linda Fabiani was talking about this on Broadcasting Scotland. I was listening to them to find out about the exit poll. So, as I say, I don't believe the exit poll. I'm going to stick with my prediction of the SNP getting 34 to 37. The exit polls predicted what I predicted for Labour, roughly. What I predicted for Tory, roughly. They haven't got it right on what I predicted for the SNP. For the SNP, looking at the polling over the last couple of years, should have been on 34 seats to 37 seats. We've tried everything to get a mainstream news channel, and they won't give us a licence. They will not give us a licence. We tried to start up a radio station in Glasgow. We raised £1 million to get the licence and to start up. They tell us no. We're not giving you a licence. Clarkson vote reform. The polls are closed. Wow. The poll closed at 10 o'clock. I suppose that says it all about reform voters, doesn't it? They don't even know when the polls shut. I know that I've known that for a while, Rainbows. I've had a big fight with Facebook, especially. When I started Indy Truck Davy on Facebook, I was getting 50 people, 100 people, then a couple of hundred people. Then 1,000 people a day were watching it, and then 2,000 people a day were watching it for the truck. 3,000 people a day were watching an episode on Watchback. What did Facebook do? The same thing they did with Gordon, IndyCar Gordon. They shut me down. You know, they shut me down. They say I won't stop believing that independence is the right thing for Scotland. That was another thing they were talking about, was the vote for reform. They're predicted to pick up, 19 seats or something? Let's have a look. What's reform predicted to pick up? 13 seats. So, you remember, Stephen, when they shut me down on Facebook? You all. I mean, I had a massive following on Facebook, absolutely massive. They then accused me of breaching copyright when I write my own scripts. I had a ding dong with them, and it's only just got to the point where I can go live on Facebook again. You know, talking of which, anybody in for Facebook? I wonder why nobody's in for Facebook. Hi, Mev. Let's have a look, see if it is live on Facebook. I did change the settings. Nope, it's still private. Sorry, folks. Public. There you go. It already went public. Right, it's public now. 20 minutes in, and that's Facebook. I already set it to public to kick me back out. That's why we set up the YouTube channel. Because of the problems we were having with Facebook. And they've said the weakest, John Curtis said the weakest episode, you told your husband you thought we'd get 35, maybe higher. As I say, David and I did the number crunching based on the poll tracker on the BBC. You seen us there, 3% of the UK population. Transfer that to Scotland, that's 1.9 million people. Who the poll tracker thought would vote for SNP. We'll still to find out how high the turnout was and all. You know, the turnout might have been a problem. Bob, I've already explained this to people, and I'm generally quite good at these things. It will take the other independent parties. The Greens are no really an independence party. They've already said that they put climate change in front of independence. The other one, Alpa, 30 years for them to build any success. 30 years at least. I momentum will come back in Scotland, Paul. But it's going to have to be somebody else who picks up the mantle at this point in time. It's what do I do with the channel? Do I continue putting out news coverage? Do I explain how it is that the devolution's been hollowed out over the next 5 years? Is that what I do? You know? So, I'm not saying I'm done, folks. What I'm saying is I don't have that another decade in me to rebuild the SNP, because that's how long it's going to take. Labour won't deliver nothing. They won't. Rainbows. We already know that they're not going to be able to deliver anything. With tax rises they're talking about, they're only going to be able to raise 7 billion of the 18 billion black hole created by the Tories in the last couple of budgets. And Professor Murphy's telling us PFI's how they're going to do it. That's how they're going to plug a hole. I have to keep making Indy content. I've got 2 years. Hey, what is it you've got to say, DJ Marcy Moo? Just batter it out. John Curtis says reform is undeclared as well as Scotland. As I say, I don't believe this myself, Gordon. You and I have known each other for a few years now. I don't believe this exit poll. I've made my prediction. We'll see what happens. They are going to haul out Holyrood. They're not going to be able to do it but they're not going to be able to throw vast amounts of money through the Scotland office. But any money that's going to come to Scotland, they will do it through the Scotland office. You can take my word for that. Nicola Sturgeon's fighting for independence right now on Sky, is she? Well, Nicola Sturgeon's a wee bit late. They say they had to get rid of Humza because Humza was a threat. Humza was saying he was declaring it, and it was our MPs that put a spanner in the works. People would have voted SNP. They would have. And then John came along, they seemed to be quite light on the idea. And I think that put a lot of people off. I don't think they'll print money and raise inflation, Alan. I think they'll go to the private sector. And that's what all the hints are, that they'll go to the private sector. We've got Rachel Reeves meeting up with hedge fund managers. And Professor Murphy, he's sure that's the road they're going to do. Desiree, I'm no, as I say, I'm at this 25 years. I've been on the social, been working for the SNP online for since 2005. So that's 19 years that David and I have been throwing out pro-independence stuff, running pro-independence groups, writing articles, writing vlogs. Writing blogs, doing vlogs. You know. But we'll just have to see where we go for here. We'll see what the SNP are going to see when we see what the actual score is. Yeah, I know you're a transport manager, mate, and I'm the only truck driver you're ever taking seriously. I'm going to take that as a big compliment, Ange. I am going to take that as a big compliment, and thank you. I have to say, the guy that runs XPO is a fan and all. You love my output. The Independents are expected to pick up 19 seats across the UK, Chris. Whether that'll be right or no. As has been pointed out by Linda Fabiani, when it comes to the smaller parties, the exit polls tend to get it wrong. So we'll just need to see. Listen, Stephen, even if the Tories did make PPI or private public initiatives and public-private payment systems illegal, no government's beholden by what the last government's done. You know? And it is a huge compliment. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. As I say, I'll always support independence. I'll always support the SNP. You reckon rain blaze its branch form, do you? You think that's what did it? That would make Clarkin, or Clerkin, that would make him a Brit and that in disguise. Because there was no SNP members complaining about it. That I can assure you. But I'm SNP in my core. I've been SNP all my life. Even when I was in the military, my mother had my proxy vote. And she was explicitly told SNP. And back then, we had something like 3, 5, 6 fucking MPs. You know what I mean? Branch form is the investigation into the SNP finances, and we are still paying for a past scams, Mr. Ford. You're right across these islands. You've got to remember it was John Major's Tories that brought in the first PFI carry-on. It was Tony Blair that picked up the ball and expanded it. And then when devolution came around, the Labour Party in Scotland extensively used it to the point where almost everything they built was a public finance initiative, you know. I mean, if we look at GB Energy, people are buying that push. It's only a PFI scam at the very least. We did have in Humza a Scottish Davros and friends wrestle with pop culture. We did have with Humza. They were scared of him. That's why they had to bring him down. But as I say, aye, Derek, they have. Watch branch form being shut down now. The election's over. Francis, I'm the same. I will be the same as I've been all my life. I will be an independent supporter. I'll be an SNP voter. And I'll be an SNP member. Aye, Neil, I know you've been the same as myself. The dream stays alive in me. What I'm saying is I don't have that much time left in me. How long do you think Sarah's going to put up with us? I've been at this for 19 years. 19 years. Just on the social media stuff. 19 years. And it's taken up most of my time over those 19 years. Anytime I wasn't at work, people who know when I was in the truck, I was coming home, studying the news, take me 8 hours to write a script for the Indy Truck Davy show, which I put out on Facebook. And if anybody hasn't seen any of them folks and you'd like to go back and see them, then you can type into your Facebook search engine, hashtag Indy Truck Davy. They're all there. And of course, Sharon Sunshine McGoldrick made a YouTube channel and put them all onto a single YouTube channel. I'll find out about it and I'll find the link for you guys. But Ange, I'll be able to tell you, I think I was there. I've been broadcasting for 6 or 7 years now, Ange. You've followed me, State. 6 or 7 years. It's only 2 years. Only 2 years that we've been on YouTube. And as I say, I don't know how much longer Sarah will allow me to do this. I mean, we still have, I think I've got 75 Facebook groups on the go. All to do with independence. All having to be moderated. All have to be looked after. We're lucky we've got a great team of moderators, or what do you call them? Admins, they call them on Facebook. We have a huge team. At one point, the team was almost 268 people. Because for the 2015 election, we set up the Scott to Scott network. Mad Monk, who's a moderator here, he helped us do it. And the Scott to Scott network had a website. It had a page for every constituency. It had a mother page. The Scott to Scott network alone had 73 pages at one point. Aye, David. It's not a case of grinding me down, Rainbows. It's a case of age. I'm as enthusiastic as ever. I really am. I'm as enthusiastic as ever about independence. It's just an age thing. I'm 56 now. I've been at this. I've been, as I say, Dave and I have been at the social media enterprise now since 2005. So I seen that Ulster reform in second in Sunderland. You know. And I'm not getting up. As I say, Dave and I will discuss what we're going to do with the channel going forward. Probably just keep used content on it. And try and keep it going. You know. We'll try and keep it going. We won't. Let's say I'll keep going in some form or another. I'll need to. there's still a need for people to get food. I mean, Labour's not going to eradicate food banks. Labour's not going to eradicate food poverty. This is the part I don't get. We've got a guy that endorsed genocide, who states he's going to stick to Tory fiscal rules. Thanks, Sandra. As you know, I've known you a long time too, Sandra. It's a small country. You know, it is a small country. And why anybody would want to vote for somebody who endorses a genocide? Who's sponsored by the Israel lobby? Aye, handcuffed to Egypt's Gordon. It'll be the same with the Indy 2 Cafe, Gordon, as you know. Sarah and I have been involved in that and all, and is still involved in the group. Although Sarah's a bit of a recluse right now. You know. I don't think any seats in Scotland have been declared yet. Although the first one in should be the wee county. As far as I can see, there's only 2 results in so far, folks. You know. You're right there as well, Paul. There will be a massive backlash because Labour can't deliver. They keep talking about growth, but when you don't have markets to sell into, you can't grow. And if you're not going to invest in public service, here's the funny thing about public services, folks. David and I mentioned, and David's a bit grumpy today, it's a new drugs is his own, you know. But as David and I point out, and it's a fact, for every pound you spend on public services, you bring in 4 in tax. Simple as that. Investing in public services is a money-making service. It's a money-making. You're saying the vote's doing, Paul. The vote share's doing. I'm interested in the turnout, to be honest with you. You can tell me having a beer, I'm not driving to 6 o'clock tomorrow night. But see, I'm on the night because Desiree Brimcat asked me to come back on for the results. You know, I'll not be sitting up too late. But I thought I'd come on and tell you, I don't believe this bloody exit poll. I just don't see it. I don't see it, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I mean, the propaganda this time has been outrageous. And that's not going to stop. That's going to intensify towards the 2026 election. And as has been pointed out, we don't have a mainstream media outlet. They wouldn't issue as a licence. And where Gordon did manage to create ITV and get it out on Amazon, hasn't done nothing. And there's nothing on it. The most probably independent Scotland on YouTube is the most successful of them. And he puts out everybody's content. Doesn't make any content his own. He'll take this tonight and he'll play that tomorrow on the Independent Scotland YouTube channel. So he takes all our lives, mine, Gordon Ross's, Independent Live, everybody's lives, and puts them all out, everybody's programming, and puts them all out in Independent Scotland. I'll need to spend a bit of time learning how to put up other people's contents on the Two Davies channel. Because you know, I only do lives. The reason I do lives is because I don't know how to bloody well record and edit. Don't know how to do it. So, what we got? I say, I'm no disheartened. I mean, in the 25 years I've been campaigning, we've had a few setbacks. What I'm saying is that this one's setting us back a decade. I don't know if I will be fit enough to fight for a decade. You know, I can't sleep in the morning night. I'm working the morning night, so at some point I'll need to maybe stay on here. What time is it now? I'll take a dug out about 1. So Labour voters switching to Tory in the North East, that didn't surprise me. Duncan, you've been generous enough, mate, the day. And yet, people all need food banks because Labour will do sweet FA to solve poverty issues. So here's another donation to help, thanks. As I say, this is the reason why we're probably going to have to keep the channel going. Because I say, already 112 for your Melanie. Nice to see you there, hen. Nice to see you there. We will still show up at independence marches and things like that after still holding them. Probably. It's a time when I get to see all my friends. Max is going live at 1:30, is he? I see all my friends on these marches. People I've known for the last couple of decades in the campaign and in the debate. I say, I can't see me keep my trap shut. You don't like them, or folks. It's the amount of time they need to take out of their schedules, class action, to teach me how to do these things. I'll just need to have my bahookie and learn how to do it myself. So, James, you think we should keep the channel and keep an eye on Labour and what they do? I say, I'll talk to David about it. The channel, we're not going to shut the channel down. David's definitely going to have to take time out to recover. Depending on what week it is and what medication they're getting him, it can be a good week, a good programme, or it can be a pretty bloody sore one. Like the day, he was grumpy to hell the minute we come on, and we were in the green room an hour and a half before we go live. Is it Tory tears I'm drinking, Adele? It might well be bloody SNP tears, depending on the score tomorrow. Aberdeen South could declare around 1:30. We'll find out then whether Stephen Flynn keeps his seat. Aye, Melanie, they keep changing his medication too because of the problems of Brexit. You know, he'll be on one medication and all of a sudden it's not available. So he's on to another one. And you never know how it's going to affect people. But David's a very close friend of mine. Him and I have been working together since 2005. You guys have been awfully generous, folks. Awfully generous. You've raised over £1,000 this month. Over £1,000. Rain boys, I do have to agree with you. John did nothing to inspire. Humza and his Dundee declaration scared them. Scared the shit out of them. Lorraine, I'm not going to say to David take a back seat until he's ready. David and I have been working hard together now. But you know this, Lorraine. Fuck. You know, you've known me for a long time, Lorraine. Deb, well over a decade now. You know, well over a decade now, you and I. John Baxter, thank you very much. As I say, you people absolutely amaze me. On A. Duncan, I'm having to throw 100 quid in the pot tomorrow and all, provided the Greens don't win a seat. So it's not as if David and I don't throw in the pot and all, we just don't tell you guys we're doing it. You know. As I say, no, Scotland will not deserve declare seats until, I reckon we'll get the first ones coming through about 1:30. Class action, you're right, I'm hoping the MPs that did the dirty on Humza and all lose their seats. Humza set the party in a direction and the MPs didn't like it. They did not like it. So 5 of them conspired to change it. I don't know what ADE is, but thank you very much. I know it's a deep state in their actions, mate. It's very difficult to change it, though. I don't know what ADE is, but I'm sure that's a hefty amount. You know, I'm sure. But so see, you guys are the reason why I'll carry on, definitely. I'll definitely carry on. David's going to have to take some recovery time. So, as you know, folks, because I don't watch the television, I'm having to look and see what's coming in on social media. And so far as I can see, there's only been 2 seats declared, and they're based in the northeast of England. Now, I'll still carry on in some form or another. I can't see as Kate, was your choice. Can't be bothered. And Dodgers, you're in bed listening. Thomas, you say Humza knew they'd be coming for him. Of course they were coming for him. Absolutely. About 100 quid, Graham. Thanks very much. Wow, thank you. You guys are nuts. The Scotland Effect, you guys will carry on watching the best news format on YouTube. Thanks. Cheers, David and David, for keeping me sane. Your hard work and dedication is inspirational. And thanks, mate. And I say, I know a lot of you guys very personally. I've met a lot of you guys down through the decades. And I mean decades. I say I'm on 19 years now. I understand that now, class action. Thank you very much. Currency of the United Arab Emirates. Thanks, Momo. I say, you guys are amazing. And you're probably the reason why I couldn't get up now. I say, probably we'll just stick to talking about the news. So David's probably going to have to take some time out. He really does need to take some time out to recover. But we'll discuss it on Monday. On Monday, we'll have an open debate about where we're going, and we'll do it in front of you. will do it during their life. Theresa May was champing doors the night when she Karen. Oh dear. You watch out for that t-shirt in the next couple of days, Karen. I'm just waiting on the one that's going on to being delivered to me. And as I say, there's another example. Karen and Lynn have known each other for fuck knows how long. It's been a long time now. You know. So I say it's very hard to walk away for all you guys. Swindon's House went to Labour. Well, let's try an update. Let's see what we got. Aye, Labour's got 4 seats and the Cons have got are -1. So what does it mean for the Holyrood election? I don't know. I really don't. It's 2 years away. Labour could have made the right arse in the first 2 years. People are expecting change. They're expecting cheaper electricity, cheaper everything. GB Energy's not delivering it. Looks like the lowest turnout since 2005 and the third lowest turnout in a century. That's not the 2 live streams a day, Hugh. That's the last since. I'll tell you what, guys. I've got a great internet connection this time of night. Let's have a look and see what it says in YouTube right now. Let's see what YouTube says I've got to send us. Okay. I'll pop into the studio. I'll be able to share it with you. Because I'll be able to put the studio up live. So let's get into analytics. Oh, we've reached 1,900 subscribers again. Wonderful. That's another landmark. That's 8 more subscribers today. Thank you very much, folks. Let's get into analytics. And we'll go into revenue. And then I'll put it up for you to see, folks. This isn't including what you guys have given today. Okay. But I'll share the screen and let you see it. Channel analytics on YouTube. That should have shoved me in a wee corner down the bottom. And no including what you have raised today so far, which is over 400, over 500 pounds. So far this month, taking the 500 pound that we've raised today, that you guys have raised today, that's 754.64. By the way, this is minus their cut. So this is what's coming in. So if we take the 500 pound that you guys have given us today, and we take their cut off it, we're looking at about 1,150 pounds, folks. That's an amazing amount of money. An amazing amount of money. You guys are the bee's knees. You are the bee's knees. They're saying David being fit now means that we can start to get it out the... Alan, come on. Wow. I'm not going to give up, as I say. I don't think I could stop because people need to eat and Labour are not going to sort it. I think there's going to be total disillusionment in the people of Scotland and England within the next couple of years. And I mean that sincerely. I honestly do believe that there could well be a collapse in the system down that road in the next couple of years. I really do. As for Starmer dealing with Trump, Trump's not going to deal with it. Trump's not going to deal with it at all. Trump's getting... Starmer will be ignored. That's another £200, Alan. Well, that's awfully generous, Alan. Awfully generous. The Scotland effect back in 85, that's even before the devolution. You and some friends crashed a Tory fete in Aberdeenshire, shouting fuck the Tories, vote SNP. You were no even 15 at the time. That's the sort of stunts we used to do back then. Yes, I think Kid Starver could be the end of England's toxic British coffin. I think you're right, Lorraine. That's alright, Q. Turns out it's 300 quid or 400 quid the guy's giving it, that Alan's giving. That is awfully generous. Awfully generous. Hey, any time he's home in Scotland, they can hit me up and I'll get him drunk. And James Lindsay says Israel won the UK election. And the UK and the US and French elections. Hi, Roshan. How are you? That's very generous of you, Roshan. You're in Ireland, so it's very generous for you. We don't donate to food banks out with Scotland, so everybody who's out with Scotland who's donating, then thank you on behalf of the people of Scotland. And I mean that sincerely. David and I are blown away every month with your generosity. And we get the privilege of phoning up the food banks and saying to them, look, we tell them who we are. We tell them how we come across the funds. And we get the great privilege. Sometimes the people at the other end of the phone are so grateful, they're in tears. Like when the S1 food bank was going to shut down in Glasgow, because they couldn't keep going to their next government grant come in. You guys allowed us to give them 700 quid, and that kept them going and kept them open to their next grant coming. Thank you very much, Stephen. I won't ever give up on independence. As I say, what I'm saying is this has set the movement back 10 years. And with David and I's age and David's health, we just have to look at it. I mean, 2 programmes a week's no big to me, it's not a big thing to me. I can handle 2 programmes a week, even on my own. Alistair, you tearing up, sir. Listen, I mean, as I say, when S1 Food Bank was shutting down in Glasgow because they had run out of funds, and you guys had given us 700 quid, it was a baby bank. I mean, we had 700 quid, we just phoned them up and says, listen, is this going to be enough to see you by to your next grant? And it just so happened it was. They were only 10 days away for their grant. So you guys saved a baby bank in Glasgow single-handedly. It was shutting its doors. I don't know if they'll be forced into a general election, but I can see Starmer getting his bahookie kicked out of office quite quickly, actually. Quite quickly. You need to excuse me smoking on the stream, folks, and drinking on the stream, folks, but it's after the watershed. I try not to smoke. I sometimes do when David and I have got a programme on, but I try not to. But it's after the watershed, and I'm going to have to go back in the patches because the vape thing's not working for me. I just don't like it. So I'll need to, once we've got a new chemist and it's no part of the scheme yet, once the chemist's up and running and part of the scheme, I'll get down and go on the patches because I really need to stop again. Stephen, you've seen a few things on Israel that made you go, what the? Haven't we all? Except for I'm quite willing to say fuck. I'm more than 7 seconds into my feed. They can't demonetise it. It's super chats that you guys send. And as you probably know, you can't monetise a live, they can't put ads in it. You're right, Lorraine, but it'll take people a wee while to clock onto it. The kids today don't even remember Thatcher. Thatcher was in the 80s. You know? Thatcher was in the 80s. A lot of the kids of today don't know anything about her. Desiree, I know folk who love their vapes. I know people who love their vapes. And Alistair, the tablets work for you. I don't know anything about the tablets, to be fair. But I do know that the twice that I've given up, Momo, thank you very much again. Thank you. I say, you guys humble us every time we do a stream. Every single time we do a stream, you guys humble us with your generosity. And to be fair, the community that we've built up here between Facebook and YouTube, because what we get for the people on Facebook, folks, I don't know if you know this, but we put our bank details out on the 2 Davy live streams, the 2 Davy bank account, and the people on YouTube and Facebook are just as generous. But what they do is they set up monthly transfers on that. And I think Facebook, even though that their audience is nowhere near as big as the YouTube audience today, still throws £300 a month, £400 a month. It's amazing. How many times have they talked about levelling up? You've got to remember, it's you've got to remember who they represent, and they don't represent the people. They've never represented the people. They've represented the state and its corporate interests. That's always been how it is. Always. That's why I don't watch mainstream media. Free Scotland. I can't be bothered with a bias. That's why what I've always did was have a look at the headlines and go and find proper sources. Especially when it comes to politics, because when it comes to political debates and who said what and things like that, then you go to Hansard, because they copy it down in text, word for word, as it's being spoken, and put it out. So, whereas you might get a media interpretation of what somebody said, it might not exactly be what they said at all when you go back to read it. No. I say, but I'm about the dream will never die thing. For me, the dream will never die. I just don't believe this exit poll. But even Scotland's exit poll saying the SNP on 18 is scary. You off to bed, class action. Fair dues, my friend. I still work for a living myself. Although some people argue I don't really anymore. But it would appear the mainstream media and their SNP bad shit has been working. It really has. Aye, Austin. You stuck at my timeline, did you, mate? Thanks. Right, what does this say for Mark? One thing about this, folks in Scotland will remember the Tories at the next election and how shite Labour will be. Surely that has to hammer home the need, the SNP and independence. I don't know, Mark. I really don't. When you make it line one, page one, your manifesto, and people don't buy it. But we don't know yet whether people are buying it or not. We'll know in the morning when the result comes in. Because if independent supporters don't believe the SNP, then we're going to have to find another route. And that's going to take longer than I have to give. I've already given half a lifetime. As I say, I don't know how long Sarah will put up with it. I really don't. She's taken a back seat all these years. She's been the strength behind me all these years. Every time we've taken a dunt, she's been there to pick me up. But even she's starting to say, David, when do I get some time? Used to like to get this guy on ITV. It might be right. The Tories might pick up seats in Scotland because of tactical voting. I pay no fee and I watch no TV either. As far as I can tell, there's no Scottish results yet, Alistair. Let's have a look. What I've got is Labour on 5. That's the 5 results that are in. I don't know if any of them are Scottish results yet. I don't think so. Well, then you've known the Dragon for years the same way I have. You've seen her. She always takes a back seat and lets me drive the bus. You know, eventually she's going to have to say, she's already started, do you mind, can I have 10 minutes of your time? I think it's mischief making and all, Mark. But mischief making can work. And there've been mischief making. There've been mischief making since the last Holyrood election. You know, is there a lot of people out there just went, ugh, it's not happening? In the Highlands, there were many disillusioned Indy supporters, and the Unionist supporters were shifting from Tory to Lib Dem. Well, as you know, the Highlands were always a place for the Lib Dems. You know, the Highlands Islands and Orkney. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. The Procurator Fiscal's Office or the Crown, they haven't said whether Peter's got a case to answer. They have not. The police have submitted a report, but they haven't said whether they're going to proceed with any criminal charges against them. The Procurator Fiscal. But there we have it. No, I haven't seen them up on Sky. I don't want it. Folks, I know people don't take me serious when I say this, but I don't watch the television. I do not. Chris, you're in the booth. Right, Alan, stop it. The world does love the Scots and they would like us to become part of the world again. Only 5 declared, Melanie, and I think they're on England. But Alan, that is wonderful. Thank you very much. That's a huge amount of money you've donated to the people of Scotland tonight. An absolutely huge amount of money. I am I'm tearing up, to be fair. It's on YouTube Live, is it? I can't do YouTube Live while I'm talking to you guys. Aye, well, the Auckland Shetlands, they have their own. They do have their own reasons for voting Lib Dem up there. We feel the defeat average from the working class Scottish voters more than the English supporters. Our own put the blade in our own backs. Problem is, there's only, when you get right down to it, Lorraine, and there is only 2.5 million Indigenous Scots. The fact that our population's at 5.4 million, and when I say Indigenous Scots, I'm talking about family lines that go back 1,000 years. Everybody who's in Scotland today who was born in Scotland, of course, can no claim to be an Indigenous Scot. No. But what we do have is over 1 million people who live here who have come from England and Wales. It's better I don't watch, I might drop my pint. I'll be dropping it shortly anyway, I'm on a note. I don't drink. I mean, I'm overdoing it tonight. I normally stop at 2. I'm on number 3 and I'll get number 4 there. I'll be stopping at number 4. Now that the election's over, bet that all those investigations will quietly die and no big headlines to announce, and there was nothing. Someone in Mary Hill. You live in Edinburgh, aren't you? Ah, Roshan, you know all about settler colonisers. Do you know the amount of people from England and Wales who lived in Scotland jumped by 400,000 in 2014? 400,000. Imagine that. Thomas, there was a lot of people didn't turn out. I think this is going to be one of the lowest turnouts on record. I think this could even be less than a 50% turnout. I expect to be alive another decade, but I don't expect Sarah to put up with this for another decade. As I say, David and I started out with social media campaigns on behalf of the SNP and Scottish Independence in 2005. Just think about that. Oh, my beer's cold, Graham. Don't worry about that. I don't. DJ Mercy Moo, you're right. They issue pencils, but they're supposed to be wax pencils. I noticed today that they weren't a wax pencil. They're supposed to be the sort of pencil that you would use for your eyeliner, sort of thing, a wax pencil. But I noticed today it was a graphite pencil. Fortunately, I had a black pen in my pocket. I always have a black pen in my pocket when I go to the polling booth. Right, Lorraine, thank you very much. Thank you, Lorraine. I see you and I have known each other a long time, old friend. In fact, it was some right cracking nights in the Tartan Arms, if we know. As I say, I don't know what, I'll need to speak to David on how he's going to go forward. But the channel exists, and I intend to keep it going because of the generosity of you folks and the fact that we have need. We have huge need in our land. And I say, I'm very humble. I'm very humbled at the community here and how generous you are in helping others within our community. You know, really hugely humbled. Like Duncan the day, my £100, I'll just put that straight into the 2 Davies account tomorrow. There'll be no cut coming off for YouTube. and Google, but Dunk in the day is over 300 quid. I have no idea how much Alan's given us, but I think I make that about 500 quid. Wow, that's nuts. Aye, and it was all graphite pencils, and that worries me. Because I've always traditionally been wax pencils, because you can't rub a wax pencil out. No. I did see, when this postal vote thing broke last Friday, is this election being rigged in front of our eyes? There has to be a judge-led public inquiry into the postal voting scandal. So there does. Alba history, no, they don't discount your vote as long as it's a black pen. If you were to use a blue pen, a red pen, a green pen, for some reason they think it doesn't count. But a black pen, they accept. 318 given by Alan today. Wow, Alan, that's enormous. That's between you and Duncan the day, 670 quid. Wow. And that's not including the hundreds of pounds being given by everybody else. Eyes on the prize, mate. You got my catchphrase right, that's for sure. For anybody who used to watch the Indy Truck Davy thing, I used to end all the shows by saying, eyes on the prize. And aye till I die. I'll be aye till I die and all. And I'm hoping to see it before I die. I say, I'd love to give another decade to it. But it's whether Sarah's going to be able to put up with it. You've got to remember, Sarah's lived with us since I was 25. I'm 56. All independent, all SNP manifestos going forward will say the same thing, Stephen. Thank you. Thanks for pointing that out. You'll be using a pen next time. It's good to know that it's an option. Aye, Alba history, it is an option. A black pen. Remember, it's going to be a black pen. It's not up. Let's have a look. Any party to put independence on the back burner. Only the people can do. Rainblaze, that's very true. So we need to watch how the polls on independence go over the next wee while. That will be interesting. It looks like it's going to have to be our children who get us there, Lorraine. You and I have been trying for as long as you and I can remember. Yeah. Aye, Thomas. Listen, I liked the Indy Truck Davy song actually. It was quite catchy. It was quite truckery. It was no bad. It was no bad at all, in fact. But because it's about me, I'm not going to play it because I'm shy. I'm not really. I'm flattered you wrote a song about me, Thomas. Believe me, I am, and it's very catchy. Ah, you're right, Stephen. You can still use a piece of bread to rub out a pencil, just no a wax pencil. One thing's for sure, folks, the genie's out the bottle. It's become mainstream independence. Whether it's been mainstream long enough for people to actually buy into it, that's another question. That is another question, folks. You know, sometimes it's hard with my mucker David, because he likes to go off on tangents when I'm trying to break down the numbers and things like that, you know. Believe it or not, guys, back between 2012 and 14, when anybody wanted to know what the numbers were, Davy's face was always in the inland revenues or HMRC's figures. I ignored everybody else's figures because they broke down things by region and things like that. And I was known back then as a bit of a figures guy. You know, I understood Scotland's figures. Well, we were being told we're too wee, too poor, and too stupid. I knew how the GERS report worked. I knew what Scotland's exports were, what Scotland's GDP was, when the mainstream didn't. Let's see this one. The two Davies. These days, most pencils have a high china clay content compared to what they were years ago. I didn't know that, Steve. It's been a long time since I've used a pencil. The pen I'm using at the moment is from the UN. I don't know if I will like you see that. It's the human right, the UN's charter, a human rights charter. That's the pen I'm using at the moment. I ran across somebody who worked at the UN a couple of months back, and they gave me half a dozen of them actually. So that's the pen I'm using at the moment, the one for the UN Charter on Human Rights. That was a gift, as I say. I met the fella in Edinburgh a few months back. He'd watched the channel and he'd contacted me. I went and had a cup of coffee with him. And tomorrow I'll be having a word with a lady called Alison Roxburgh, and I'll be giving another £250 grant, thanks to you guys, to the food bank in Leith on behalf of Frank Dickinson, who unfortunately has told us that he's terminal. As I say, I spend a lot of I know you guys don't see this, but I spend a lot of time trying to convince food banks that we actually want to give them money. Adele, you need to go. You need to go to bed. Yeah. You sleep well, Adele, and hopefully I'll see you soon. I'm hoping to make it to Elgin. Hi, Wayne. Is John back, is he? Leave him alone, folks. Leave him alone. You know, the Unionists will have their day. Scotland will have its say. Comments move a bit fast for me here, guys. I'm trying to keep up, but you got to remember you get two different communities here on the one stream, because I'm streaming our YouTube and Facebook. You know, and I know that the user on Facebook can only see the Facebook comments. I know that using YouTube can only see the YouTube comments. I'm in the privileged position of getting to see them all. Karen, Rushan's in the feed tonight, and I think Rushan would agree with you. She's in Ireland. Ireland is changing and it is moving towards reunification. Fortunately, they have the right to call a referendum every 7 years. We don't. And Lorraine, poor kids should never. Yeah, I'm up to a sort of, so where'd the chat go? That's better. Poor kids should never suffer poverty under toxic politicians' greed and destruction. Absolutely correct. Scotland's the 14th richest country on the planet. While in the UK we're in 23 or 24 at this point in time and heading for third world status. Sandra, you're off to your bed. You're scunnered. The results are no in yet, Sandra. But you look after yourself. And I'll hopefully see you soon. As you might gather, folks, Sandra and I have known each other a long... In fact, folks, especially you guys on YouTube, and there is a lot of you people on YouTube who I have met personally and who I do know personally. But Sandra and I, Lorraine and I, and a lot of you in the feed, we go back a long way. And I mean a long way. We've known each other for decades. We've been campaigning together for decades. We've been marching together for decades. And we've been partying together for decades. You know. And that goes for you too, James. Thomas, you're right. We will be asking India for donations to the UK soon. Because that's what happens when you cut yourself off internationally. And that's what Brexit did. And the way they behaved with the Brexit deal, Alison, super sticker, lemon character jumping in excitement with his heart beating out of his chest. Thank you, Alison. 66th of September. And you'll be SNP until you die, Sandra, me and all. And I'll probably see you at the next conference. If not the next March. I think you could be right there, Stephen. I think you could be right there. But if that's true, it's going to be a breach of the Good Friday Agreement. Let's put this one up. I'm definitely upset, but as a true Danish Scot, I'll never give up. And as you know, Kate, the Scots are a Nordic country. We are a Nordic country. We're no a southern country. We're no a southern European country the way England is. Scotland is a Nordic country. We belong in the Nordic bloc. And that's where we belong. We have a totally different moral structure. We have totally different values for those south of the border. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, those south of the border. They're friends. They're our cousins. But we are a Nordic people. We're no a southern European people. We're a Nordic European people. We've always been. I mean, look at me. Fuck, I look like a Viking. What I have to do is grow my hair a wee bit longer. We don't have a Nordic living standards, Nathan, because, well, we're in the wrong type of union altogether. And it was actually a union that was forced upon us. We didn't have a fucking say in it. We did not have a say. We had an English army on our southern border. We had an English flotilla off Leith, and we had 16 bent lords who lost out in the Darien project, who sold us into this union. And Colin, your point's right. This idea of Britishness and British values. I don't know any British people. None. I know English people, I know Welsh people, I know Northern Irish people, I know Southern Irish people, I know Scots. Don't know anybody British. I walk up to somebody and ask them, where are you from? You normally say Somerset or whatever county it is in England. And in Scotland, when I say to somebody, where are you from? They'll talk about a city in Scotland. I'll say, and when you ask them, where are you from? They don't say Britain. They say England, they say Wales, they say Scotland, they say Northern Ireland, they say Ireland. That's one of the myths, Stephen. One of the other myths is that we're one of the tribes of Israel that was shoved out. There's a lot of myths. But the fact is, we're Picts, and we're Celts, and we're Viking. And that's generally our bloodline. I mean, according to my DNA, I'm Irish, Scottish, and Nordic. There you go. Oh, I don't know if chase this one down. Did I know that the salt tyres were removed in Edinburgh and replaced by the Jack for the visit big years? Actually, Nathan, they were replaced by the Royal Standard. The Jacks that you witnessed were always there. When Big Ears came to Scotland, same as when his mother comes to Scotland, they fly the Royal Standard. Why? I have no fucking idea. He's not my king. Britain is a coloniser, and if Rasheen's still watching, because Max will be on by now. Max isn't on yet for another 26 minutes. She'll be able to tell you. She talks about colonisers, settlers all the time. But in Rasheen's case, she is talking about Ireland. In this particular case, we're talking about Scottish and British. And as DJ Marcy Moo says, Scottish, never British. Well, Craig, I'm really sorry to hear that. That you think that the SNP MPs have turned into career politicians. I've heard this argument a lot. And we look at some of them and how long they've been doing there. It's a fair statement. We were talking about Angus earlier and whose best pals are doing that road. One's a Tory and one's a Labour spin doctor. You know what I mean? And he spends more time punting on the Thames than what he does in his office, apparently. And wasn't he showing up for the votes? Was he being led astray? Was he just becoming used to the lifestyle? Did he forget he was doing there to settle up instead of settle down? Hey, Mark. I wouldn't say evening though, I'd say good morning. No, James, the party's not going anywhere. It suffered another setback. It will rise again. The question we've got to ask ourselves is, how long will it take? If people are looking at Westminster and saying, well, the SNP have achieved fuck all with 56 MPs, achieved fuck all with 43 MPs, people have to know about the democratic deficit. And it would appear the democratic deficit is not getting through. It is not sinking in. There are 57 Scottish MPs trying to fight for Scotland's corner against 550 English MPs. That's not democracy in a union. Take the European Union, for example. Something comes along that the smallest nation in the European Union doesn't agree with. There's a veto. And that policy doesn't go forth until it fits every single nation within that union. In this fucking union, there is no veto, and we all have to take what England fucking wants. England wanted Brexit. We all get Brexit except for Northern Ireland. Why not Northern Ireland? Well, let's face it, the Good Friday Agreement changed things. Lorraine, you off to bed? I hope to see you soon, my friend. Thanks for joining us. So, when we talk about the democratic deficit and people will be able to get their head round it, you know, what they say is vote for an English party and you have influence an English party. I've never seen the Scots have influence an English party unless it fucking suited them. So if we look at Lord Darling and fucking Gordie Brown, they were in positions because it suited Tony Blair. He had more English enemies in the party than he had Scottish enemies in the party, so Scottish ministers came to the fore. Nathan, you weren't ready to join because he didn't look like with a pair of yellow sunglasses on. Yeah, well, I've heard of much worse reasons for wanting to get rid of a politician. I don't want John to be... Listen, we've all been through John's leadership before. He's too nice. He tries to be consensual about everything. Politics is a combative game. You know, if you're no willing to take the fight and the argument and the debate robustly to your political opponents, you've lost the fight. See this shite talking about consensus for the good of the people? Sounds right. Doesn't work. Politics is a dog-eat-dog game. And when you... I mean, I was going to get into politics a few years back, but something happened and got in the road here. I'll awaken my better half, James. Nah, Sarah's sleeping. She's with the game. She's up at 5 to go to work. Hey, Mark, the Vikings were here for a party, were they? I'm sure the people might have got on well with the Vikings, but I'm sure the bloody priesthood didn't, because they had all the money and that's who the Vikings were after. Can we keep Stephen Flynn? Where? If he doesn't win his seat, then the answer's no. Hi, John. Welcome aboard. Chris, I don't know if you were watching me back in the truck, but I seen the splits coming on the movement and I warned people against it. But that's because of history. And as you know, folks, I did my homework. And I looked at what happened in Canada when it was a close result there. And they went quickly again. And I thought, nah, you're going to have to give us at least a couple of years and a couple of elections. But we're a decade on. Exactly a decade on. And there has not been any progress. Support for independence is 50-50 in the polls, with the margin of error. And that was the outcome of the referendum. And when you ask people if they want independence, aye, they all say aye. Their answer is always, but now's not the time because of the cost of living crisis, because of a war in Europe. And every time you get all the things settled down and people right, okay, let's have a go, then Westminster creates another fucking situation like Brexit. Now people are feared to move. You say the Quebec referendum was right? Probably. I have been looking for that video that I put out in the truck about creating splits. I even named the people who were doing it. I warned them. I knew who they were. I knew who they were. Anyway, Alistair. Alistair, thanks very much for your contribution again tonight. Thanks, mate. I knew who they were. They were friends of mine. I campaigned with them down through the decades. I knew who they were. The SNP refused to put them in public, put them up for election. Wouldn't accept them. And the ones who had left the SNP for solidarity and things like that. Thanks, Alistair. And thanks for moderating as usual. I knew who these people are. I could name them all. The people who created the Alpha Party, the IPS, them all. I knew who they were. And they'd all stood to run for the SNP, with the exception of one, who was an SNP elected figure. And he walked the floor to solidarity. These are the people who put splits in their music movement. And the funny thing about them was, none of them really, as far as I could see at the time, or even now, were infiltrators. Thomas, I'm not going to stand for Parliament in 2026, the Scottish Parliament. I'm not. Because the party won't select me. And I'm not one of these guys that believe in my own fucking popularity, the way the diddies who created the Alpha Party did. You know, the diddies that created the Alpha Party believe their own fucking press. I don't believe I'm fucking famous because I've put a blog out over the last 10 years or a vlog out over the last 8. I don't believe I'm famous. I'm just a campaigner, an online campaigner. The people who set up the Alpha Party, they all believe they're in fucking press. Because they sell a few fucking t-shirts at an independence march that they might have helped to set up. Honestly, guys, I kid you not, I know every single person involved. And I mean that. No, Thomas, I'm not going to stand as an independent. I'm a member of the SNP. I say, I know who did it. I know them personally. And I know why they did it. Because they believed their own fucking press. They thought they were popular. Look at Chris McElhenney. Stonking majority as an SNP councillor. Switched to the Alpha Party, believed he was popular rather than the party. Got his ass kicked out of office. Look at Pat Lee. Walked to Flaherty's Solidarity. Believed that he was popular. And know the party. Pat get his ass kicked out of office. And if we look at what's going to happen with Neil Henry and Henry McLeish, who were both elected on an SNP banner, although Henry had SNP campaigners, but had to stand as an independent, until he was cleared at a disciplinary, and then got to rejoin the party, and then walked to Flaherty Alpha. Watch them get their ass kicked out of office tonight. It is not the person that's popular, or it was not the people who were popular, it was the party. If tonight's exit polls are correct, then the party is no longer popular either. And that will be what the poll, what the result is telling us. Now, seats in so far, 7, all for Labour. And all expected to go to Labour. So far, there's only been one constituency move from the Conservatives to Labour. We've got a long way to go here in the count. Kevin, I'm not intending to stay up all night. I've got work tomorrow evening. You know, but I'm glad you could pop on, Kevin. You know, and we talk about people who we know personally. There's Kevin. Him and I were at Bannockburn a couple of weeks ago, and I was stealing his fucking coffee. Lorraine, I thought you were out of your bed, lassie. Their own egos destroyed them. Alex Salmon, Alba faked up. Wayne, you and I have known Alec a long time. Fuck, come on. I think you and I were both surprised at the direction he went in after that referendum. Resigning and leaving the door open is one thing. Then joining Russia today because nobody else would put his TV, his production company out. It was like standing up and putting a big fucking sign in your back saying, shoot me. And then, of course, the start had waned that much that the only time the mainstream media drag Alec onto the screen is to slag his previous party. And he falls for it. I thought he was a bright man. You and I were in doing through the years, thought he was a bright man. We've supported him doing through the years, you and I. No. And then we see him flip out because he took a bet 5 years before the party wanted him to take it and lost. Don't know if you know this, folks, but Lorraine and I have been in the party an awful long time. We didn't want the referendum until 2021. We wanted 2 or 3 SNP administrations to prove to the people of Scotland that they were competent. But Alec went on the second SNP administration. That was never the plan. That was not the plan. Joanne Lamond got wind that there might have been a deal for a referendum in 2021, and she goaded Alec into it. She goaded Alec into going, 7 years before the party wanted to go. They wanted to be halfway through this particular administration. Or sorry, at the beginning of this particular administration. Interesting thing about it was, we won that election in 2021. Right on schedule. But the referendum had started 7 years, the referendum was held 7 years early. Listen, I mean, this is an interesting point, folks. Maybe it's time for the SNP to clear out all the dead driftwood. Do we get people in there that want Indy and not just a wage? All right, the problem with that is it's a bit like taking us back to where the Alpha Party is today and starting again. And then for the people who really want it, as you say, and I don't believe the people in the SNP don't really want it. I just don't think they'll get their act together on how to get it. They're not forceful enough. They always talk about the people of Scotland being sovereign, but never exert that sovereignty. You know, when that Supreme Court did there ruled that Westminster was sovereign on this particular issue because of the 1998 Scotland Act, the answer should have been 2 fingers up to the... Nicola Sturgeon should have said, don't talk nonsense, you fuckers. There's 2 different constitutional traditions in the UK. And in Scotland, the people are sovereign, not the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers, no matter what laws they have written. But she didn't do that. And neither did John. He said we're a law-abiding party. Funny thing was, Humza said, fuck you and your shite. The people of Scotland are sovereign, and they will have their say. And if they give us a majority of MPs, we're calling it. Westminster shit itself. It was MPs, the creation of MPs that got Scotland into the Union. MPs are the logical way to take Scotland back out the fucking Union. Humza was right. Simple as that. So Humza had to be stopped. Humza had to be stopped. I mean, people didn't want to vote for Humza. They didn't realise what a tiger he was. I'd known him since a wee boy, growing up in Pollock. And I'm a good 10 years older than Humza, maybe more. You want to see him, he was a tiny wee kid taking on every fucker at football. Like a tiger. That's the thing, James. That is a question that's going to be asked of guys like John. Law-abiding party. Whose fucking law are you abiding by? And according to our law, the people are sovereign. Why are you putting up with that pish? Well, Suzanne, you made an interesting point there about RT. Having a massive social media presence. Where did Tommy Sheridan disappear to? Sputnik. Before it was shut down. If you want to see Tommy Sheridan, he's in Russia today in any country that still allows it to be shown. No, actually, Humza was pushed through Ange. No, Ange. He didn't get pushed out. It seems he jumped. No, he didn't. What he did was he realised that the Greens were about to dump the coalition and decide to end it first. The Greens were having a vote the following week on whether to dump the coalition. And Humza decided to step in and say, Nah, you're not dumping us, that'd be too embarrassing. That might have been the wrong decision in hindsight. You should have let them do it and watch that vote galvanise back behind the SNP. But that's not what he did. Hey, Keller, how are you? Nice to see you on the feed, mate. We're talking about the exit poll, of course. I don't get it, I don't wear it. And if it is true, then there's definitely been voter manipulation. Because it wasn't what I was hearing on the street. And I got my ear to the ground. You're right, Austin. The Union United against the SNP. And the SNP weren't up for a fight. Whom's was up for a fight, he'd have taken the media on. John wants consensus. John's always been the nice guy of politics. I always liked John. But you can't have a combative situation where you're not a combatant. And I mean that. And I've been in a few situations where if you weren't a combatant, you were dead. You know? And John's never been that combative. He's always thought, surely it's better if we all work together on behalf of the people. Admirable. Very admirable. But that's not how politics works. That's not how it works. I've spent my time in many debates and many debating societies. And politics is based on that. Politics is about presenting an argument and winning that argument through combative debate. You don't do it through consensus. You do it about winning the argument. And that's no John's style. Now, when John, under Nicola Sturgeon, was her Rottweiler, I thought, fuck me, that's a different John than I've seen. And then the minute he became leader again, he was back to looking for consensus. You say to yourself, what happened to this guy? You know, under Nicola, he was a Rottweiler, he was an attack dog. Take the alpha out of the room, and John's back to being a beta. What's my view on Kate Forbes? To be honest with you, she's a capable politician, but unfortunately she's guided by her religious beliefs. And they're not exactly mainstream. The wee frees are not exactly what you call mainstream. Let's have a look and see what's coming on. Let's get an update on the results, folks. As they start to come in, things are starting to happen. One would hope. Labour 9, nobody else has got a seat so far. Just the usual push. Exit poll says SNP will fail. Kate Forbes, difficult night for SNP as Labour on track for landslide, according to Kate. Dawn of New Era. Scotland's papers headlines. Let's have a look at the headlines, shall we? Shall we put them up? Shall we put tomorrow's headlines up for you guys to see? Let's do that. These are the Scottish papers, by the way. So I should be down in the corner. The Daily Record, dawn of a new era. No, it's no. It's more of the same. Landslide. And the Scotsman. The Scottish Sun, dawn of the red. The Daily Mail, Labour set for historic landslide. Tory wipeout is the Telegraph. The Times, exit poll puts Labour on course for a landslide. The Eye, Labour landslide. The Herald, Tory nightmare as exit poll predicts Labour landslide. Daily Express, crushing blow to SNP and Tories in election wipeout. If the exit poll's right, that's true. We are way back to where we were in the 90s. And the Star, 14 years in charge, those good bits in full, a splash of ink on the paper. So that's the headlines for tomorrow, folks. Stay away from the papers. Harrogate win. They were first with 23,975. Reform 5k. And Labour on third position. Sorry, Labour in last position. Because apparently the Tories had 15,000 votes. So in Harrogate, Labour came second to the Lib Dem. The Tories came second to the Lib Dems. There you go. That is going to be one of the nights, folks. But as I say, as far as I can see, there's nothing in for Scotland yet. Which surprises me because normally one of the fastest ones in is Lorraine's constituency, the wee county. So what we've got so far is 9 seats declared. All have went to Labour. And as far as I know, they're all in England. Kevin, you've not bought a media rag in 30 years. Yeah, me neither. With the exception of the National, which I subscribe to. And that's online. Matt voted Labour, did you? Well, you have a good night then. Stephen, you're right. Reform's popularity in England is troubling. But, you know, the Tories have dropped out of popularity. Something's going to fill the void. And generally it's extremists that fill the void. In Scotland, it would appear it's Tory light that's going to fill the void. But when you get right down to it, having read their manifesto and having seen the analysis of each party's manifesto, it's not Tory light, it's following Tory. It is following Tory. Now, guys, as you know, I've been studying this stuff for years. And the SNP learnt a trick for Labour under Tony Blair. Tony Blair moved the Labour Party from left of centre to the centre ground. The SNP picked up that left of centre mantle. Now that the Labour Party have moved from the centre to the right of centre, it would appear that the SNP have moved to the centre. And there is a trajectory here, folks. With Reform now having an influence, we can see England getting forced further and further to the right. Gary, don't get depressed. We've been through blips before. Unfortunately, every blip takes a decade to get fucking through. Or more. And I mean that, folks, because when you look at political history, before devolution, the SNP were fucking nowhere. Nowhere. Christina, I understand the feeling. I really do. Starting to feel as deflated as you did in 2014. Alan's voted SNP all his life. And apparently the traitor Nicola gave up good governance no more. Nicola introduced the child uplift. 30 years of free a nursery care, increased free meals in schools. So I don't quite get what you had to say. I really don't get it, Alan. That's good governance. They were left-wing policies. They were about as left as you get. And lifting 100,000 children out of poverty or keeping them out of poverty, that is a massive achievement. And I mean that. The child uplift, the baby box, the lower council tax, the nae bridge tolls, the nae peak fare rail tickets, it's all saved the people of Scotland thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds a year. Free prescriptions, free dental for under 25s, free bus travel from. And the good governance over how we tax people as well. Moving from 3 tax bands to 6 tax bands was a stroke of fucking genius. It meant that people like me who earn a wee bit more might have to give up £4 a week. But £4 a week's only a cup of fucking coffee. Or 2 cans of beer. And anybody who watches this channel knows that I care more about the wee woman next door or the guy next door than I do about a cup of coffee. It's why this channel has raised almost £1,000 today to give to food banks. Aye, that's true, Michael. The only thing that people are talking about is an RV purchase. And it was purchased in the middle of a fucking pandemic to protect their MSPs as they travelled round about. And then they discovered they couldn't use the fucking thing. Because you couldn't travel. So, I mean, the SNP have done really well in their 17 years in power. The people of Scotland have benefited greatly. But unfortunately, we have a mainstream media who hides these things from us. They selectively look at reports and pull out the bad bits. And the bad bits make it to air. Simple as that. Matt heading for his bed, is he? Bye, Matt. Tell you what, these results are slow in coming in the night, folks. But obviously, I'm not getting to know where the constituencies are. Oh, the Lib Dems have won a seat. And that'll be the one we were talking about earlier. As I say, I'll try and keep an eye on it. Channel 4 are backtracking on the exit poll, are they? Well, as I say, we'll find out in a few hours. It's early yet. It really is. But as I say, the propaganda has been industrial. to be fair, Kevin, there is much more appeal in England. But if they did move to progressive taxation the way we here in Scotland, using our system, it would raise an extra £20 billion a year. That's a lot. Aye, apparently this exit poll is only based on 130 polls, 31 polling stations, and we don't know how many of them there are in Scotland. Okay. Scotland's counting should be quick. It never is. In Scotland, I believe the SNP will be higher as well. Unfortunately, according to the exit poll, that's not the case, so they can fucking make it up as they go along. You give the exit poll out, and then no matter what the result is in each constituency, if you own the returning officer, whatever they read out is the fucking result. We've seen that in the referendum, especially in the Renfrew count, where independence was winning on the returning officer's computer, and all of a sudden the computer fucking broke down. And when it was rebooted, no was winning. How convenient. We've seen the carry on with Dundee and the fire alarm going off every couple of minutes. What was that all about? Good question. No. To say that elections are not manipulated, it wouldn't be true. And the biggest culprit is the mainstream media. Nathan, it wouldn't be the first time that a poll was wrong. It wouldn't be. Can't be bothered. Thanks for your comedy contribution. So there should be a lot of extra money come tomorrow with the House of Lords being scrapped. Listen, when Starmer made his pledge to scrap the House of Lords and his 10 pledges to win the Leaders' Party, I was still broadcasting for the truck. And I said at the time, the clue's in the fucking name. Sir Keir Starmer. Sir Keir Starmer isn't scrapping the Lords. You said 18 in the exit poll, it's still not enough. We need 29 to move forward to a plebiscite election in 2026. If we don't get it, it's aftercards until the SNP build back. Simple as that. Now, why do you say a decade to build back? Well, we're going to have 5 years of Labour being a fucking disaster. Then a further 5 years of the Tories being a disaster. And it would appear the population are a bit stupid to wake up. Well, you've got to remember, they're not all political anoraks like me, or like David, or like a lot of you guys. Biden might be counting the SNP vote tonight. You're right, Lorraine. There has been a lot of American influence and outside influence in this particular election. And Lorraine, you have to stop shouting at me. Hey, listen, I've known Lorraine a long time. She wants to shout at me, she can. She'll still give me a hug next time she sees me. I know, I get that, Hugh. I get that. The Scottish Pacific exit poll says 18 SNP seats in Scotland. Right, folks, I'm 4 beers in. Buster's want to go. So, of course, Ed Davies in his element, he's predicted to get 60 seats. We'll see how that turns out. I'll probably be back just after Sarah goes to work, about 6 o'clock in the morning, and we'll have a better picture Lorraine, I know you've got bad eyes. How's that ankle, by the way? Is it any better? Before I go, Lorraine. Are you up and walking again? Or are you been doing the David Mulligan road and had it cut off? They say, folks, an awful lot of you guys, especially for the Facebook community and a lot of you for the YouTube community, I know extremely well. You know, you're all friends, we've all campaigned together, doing through the years. And I only come on tonight because Desiree asked me to come on, and as a reaction to the exit poll. Right? I still say 34, we'll see where we're at in the morning. Okay, but we need 29 at least, folks. We'll see how it goes, okay? And by the way, the idea that it's 1:50 in the morning nearly, and that there's 91 of you watching on both platforms, can't ask for any more than that. As for the amount of money that you guys have thrown into the pot this evening, never mind the amount of money you threw into the pot this afternoon. Wow. Is there David in his kip? Well, I did try to phone him to ask if he'd seen the exit poll, so probably aye. Aye, and Melanie, it's 2:50 for you, or it is. And I'm very, very pleased to have you with us at this time in the morning. I really am. So, as I say, I don't plan on coming back on before 6 a.m, but you never know. You never know. I'm going to see you know who. And then I'm going to try and put a couple of hours sleep in before Madam Director gets up to go to work, because generally when Madam Director gets up to work, she wakes me up on her way out of the bedroom, and that's me. Michael Harrison, thank you very much. Thank you. I want to thank you all for your generosity. As I say, sometimes I sit there and I look at the analytics in YouTube and I think, wow, these people really care about each other. And I think that's the biggest thing I've learnt for this movement, is that we care about our people. We genuinely care about how our neighbours are doing. And we genuinely care about each other. And as I say, you guys humble us. You guys raise the money and we get to get out. As I say, David talking to that wee woman in the S1 baby bank that was going to have to shut down because they couldn't make it in the next grant. And because we had so much money for you guys, we could make sure that that food bank survived. And that's a big thing. And you're right, Lorraine. Sarah will be a bit heavy in her feet in the morning. I stay out of road until she's up for at least an hour. Aye, and Kevin, you're absolutely right. Love thy neighbour, but stay out their bed. And you can probably hear in the background some clip-clopping going on. That tells me that the young fella is wanting to go. Because in Indy Talk, Davey, I'm going to end this one with my catchphrase. Even though it doesn't seem to be appropriate tonight. Eyes on the prize. Another blip in the road. We'll see where it takes us going forward. Good morning, and I'll see you in a few hours. Bye for now.